Hello, YouTube. Prof Sales coming at you from the world headquarters of Prof Sales Incorporated. Okay, there is no such thing as Prof Sales Incorporated. But if there was, I would be the person running the incorporation. It is Friday, January. Wow, I'm a month off. February 17th, Friday. And we are finishing up this week on basically a whole series of videos we've been doing about if you're a good reseller, like if reselling's for you or not, and what you need to think about, some nuts and bolts as well as some mindset stuff. And today's is actually about mindset. And the topic of the video is, do you have a reseller mindset? So we're going to get into that. We're also going to have a Q&A at the end. I'm going to go as long as I can. I might go longer than a half an hour today. So we'll just see how it goes with the voice and so on. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let me know in the chat if the audio is okay. I will assume that it is, but you never know with technology these days, right, guys? All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. I got five things I think you should consider to determine if you have a reseller mindset or not. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are five that I've identified that I think you really need to examine yourself. And this is all about self-inspection here, guys. This is about looking inside who you are and figuring out, do I have what it takes to make in this reselling game? So let's get into them. And I actually wrote these in little sticky notes. Strange enough. I'm not going to hold them up because I don't think you'd be able to read them. The first thing I think you need to have if you want to have a reseller mindset is you need to have a quest for knowledge. Now, what do I mean by that? Nobody knows it all. And this game of reselling has a lot to know and learn. There's just seemingly an infinite amount of material to learn. And even once you learn a big chunk of it, it'll change on you, which we'll get to that in a moment. But if you don't have a quest for knowledge in this game, I would argue that you're always going to be limited. You're going to be limited because you're not going to be able to learn new things that come and new ways of doing things. And that's going to hamper your progress. Being able to always wanting to learn in this business and learning is critical. And I think it's critical for any business, not just reselling, but you've got to have a quest for knowledge. And I know the tendency of a lot of people is, I've been doing this forever, and I know everything I need to know. That's nonsense. Of course you don't. Nobody knows it all. And if you're a wise person knows that. A wise person, wisdom is not just knowing things. It's also knowing what you don't know. That's a sign of wisdom. I think you have to have this quest to always be learning, always educating yourself, always seeking out new knowledge, new ways to do things, new methods, new sourcing, new platforms. There's all kinds of ways it applies to reselling. So that's number one. Number two is going to be adaptability. Adaptability. Number two, can you adapt to changes? Man, I got to tell you, it's a pet peeve, guys. It drives me crazy when people say, I know everything I need to know, and I don't need to ever adapt because it works for me. Okay, here's reality. Nobody has a 100% efficient business. Nobody has a 100% photo process, 100% listing process, a 100% packing and shipping process, dealing with customers. You can always tweak things and get better at it. And guess what? Even if you did have a 100% efficient process, the game changes, the platform changes, the product changes, customers' expectations change, technology changes. You have to be able to adapt to the changes that come at you in this business. And guys, reselling has a tremendous amount of changes that hit you on a daily and weekly and monthly basis. Anything from platforms change their fee structures, they change their search algorithms, they change how you list things. Heck, they can even go out of business. Postal rates, shipping rates can fluctuate for different types of shipments. customers' appetites for different items changes over time. And if you don't adapt, you can get left behind. Just because what you did yesterday used to work doesn't mean it works that well today, and it certainly might not work as well tomorrow. And even if you think it works, you can always find ways to make it work better. But that's only going to happen if you have this mindset of adaptation. You want to adapt and you're willing to adapt. Businesses that don't adapt die. It's that simple. They die because the market passes them by. People's tastes change, and when you don't adapt, you die. We've seen countless industries throughout history that were unable to adapt, and countless businesses that were unable to adapt, and they died because the market changed on them. The way things were done changed. Technology changed. You've got to be willing to adapt. I mean, this is so critical, guys. I could do a whole show about adaptation and not even scratch the surface, because I would argue the #1 difference between the people who are reselling today and those who are still going to be here 5 years from now or 10 years from now is adaptation. Adaptation. I guarantee you what I will be doing 5 years from now is not what I will be doing today. There may be some things that are related. There's some basic tenet and core philosophies I may still have. You know, certain things are never going to change completely, but the way I do it, will I be selling jeans? Will I be on eBay? Will I be selling clothing? Will I be on YouTube? I have no way to know that, but I've got to be open to the possibility that all those things could change. And I know that there's a lot of comments too, and I definitely will try to get to some of them. But adaptation, guys, is your friend. It allows you to evolve with the market, evolve with the changes that are going on, and beat your competition, which, by the way, is yourself, which we'll talk about that in a moment. But adaptability is my second reselling mindset I think you have to have. The third one, and a lot of these tie in together, the third point that I want to talk about today is humility. Wow. This one has always been a tough one for me, believe it or not. And I've gotten much better at this in the last year or two for various reasons. But you have to have a sense of humility about yourself in this business. And what do I mean by that? It goes back to what we were talking about in the first point about this quest for knowledge. You don't know everything. You're not the best at everything. You're not knocking it out of the park every day. Nobody gets up and hits a home run every time they come to bat. Just doesn't work that way. So you've got to have a sense of humility about you. You've got to have a sense that, you know, I had a $500 day yesterday on eBay. Woohoo! But tomorrow you might have a $50 day. And that can happen. And it happens to anybody who's been in this business for long enough. You will see results fluctuate all over the place. And you have to keep it in perspective that that's normal, because you have this tendency to pat yourself on the back, rest on your laurels, say, you know what? I am just doing it perfect. I am doing it so well. Look at how well I did yesterday or last week or even last year. And this market can change on you. Times can change. It can humble you. Think about all the people in 2005, 2006, 2007. In the real estate market, it's a great example, but it can happen in reselling to a smaller scale. I heard the story of this guy. He had an $8 million net worth. This was like in 2005, 2006. After the market crashed, he was a real estate investor. After the market crashed, his net worth was negative $2 million. He had a $10 million swing in his net worth in about 18 months. And it's not because he suddenly was terrible at what he was doing. And guess what? It didn't crush him. Was he disappointed? Of course. But he knew that could happen. That could happen when things go south and you get caught up in it. There's so much that you don't have control over. You've got to have this sense of humility about it and realize there's still more you can learn. You may have good results, but they can always be better. You've got to keep striving to maximize your potential, and you'll never get there. That's the the ironic point, you'll never reach the peak. So, keep striving for that. Maintain a sense of humility about you and realize that, you may be doing well, but it could go poorly for a while for you, and that's part of the way it goes. And don't lose faith in your ability to bounce back from it. You've got to have a sense of humility. The fourth thing, not the third thing, the fourth thing is, and this ties in with humility, number 4. And I've talked about this before, guys, but I think this one is critical for a lot of us on YouTube. This is a tough one for me with YouTube, because when you start a channel, you have a tendency to do this. Do not play the comparison game. Do not compare your business, your results to someone else. It is a mistake. And I'll tell you why. You are an individual with a unique set of circumstances, and you have a unique set of advantages and disadvantages over anyone else in this business. What works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. When you look at someone else in their business and you see they're doing this amount or this amount or this amount, you can get this. I know we all have this scoreboard mentality where we want to look at results and make a determination about how well someone's doing. And then we compare ourselves to them to make ourselves feel either better or inadequate. Honestly, it's a trap. Don't fall into it. It will destroy your results. You will always be chasing your tail when you do that, because you're always going to see someone that has better results than you. And what does better results look like? Maybe they have more listings up. Maybe they have more sales. Maybe they know more about the product. Maybe they have a bigger YouTube channel or more subscribers. Whatever it is, there's always going to be someone who's going to have more than you do in your whatever more means to you. And conversely, there's always going to be people that you see that you feel have less than you. They have worse results, lower sales, or not a big a store. They don't know as much as you. But guys, the reality is you've got to compare yourself to exactly one person, yourself. Because really, this is all about your evolution in this business, your results compared to your results, your ability to learn, your profit, your loss, how much you know, how much you don't know. And if you do that, you will be so much happier, because I heard this wise saying, and I actually put it on my Instagram not that long ago, that said, if you live by the compliments of others, you will die by their criticisms. Man, so much win in that statement, so much truth. And if you are criticizing that person or complimenting them, you're kind of playing into that game. Don't do it. It's a mistake. I know there are people with a bigger YouTube channel than me, a smaller YouTube channel than me, bigger eBay store than me, smaller eBay store that sell way more, sell way less. It doesn't matter. I'm competing against my own results, nobody else's. And I think as long as you do that, you will find a sense of peace with your business and your reselling that will serve you so well. So don't play the comparison game. Number 5, alive at 5, last one, and probably the most important one. Positivity. Gosh, man, this one. I mean, how many out there watching right now have struggled to remain positive about their reselling business? It is a struggle, and it is a daily, hourly, sometimes secondly struggle to stay positive, because what happens? We get up in the morning and we're fired up, and it's like, man, I'm going to go downstairs, print off my orders, process them, package them up, ship them out, list 50 items today, and then it happens. There's 3 returns that are made. Buyers are unhappy with the purchases they made. You get a bunch of a bunch of emails that say, why did you send me this when, I asked for something totally different? You log on your YouTube channel and you see people with a bunch of different comments that say things like, that was a terrible video you put out. That didn't make any sense. Why did you do that? Come on. That happens to all of us, and all of a sudden your positive mindset just goes right in the gutter. It goes back to having some perspective on all this, guys. All those things I just described to you, all those horrible things that are going to happen to you when you're in this business, they're par for the course. They're par for the course. And if you accept that, then you don't have to get so high or so low. I try not to get real high or real low on any day or any week or any month, because again, it kind of sets you up for the big fall, or as some people who like to always stay negative, I think you look for reasons to stay negative because it reinforces, this idea that, oh man, these results are bad, but that's just the way it is for everybody. So it's okay for me to feel bad about it. That doesn't work either. I would highly encourage you, in terms of this positivity goal, here's a little tip for you, and I found this works for me. I can't remember who said it, probably some, self-help guru, but they said, you are the average of the sum total of the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you hang around 5 people, the 5 people you hang around the most, if they're negative, if they're dragging you down and they drag themselves down, guess what, guys? You're going to be dragged down as well. Well, on the other hand, if you hang around with people who are very positive and have an optimistic outlook on life, on their business, they're going to help lift you up because you're going to feel that, So find a peer group in this community that will lift you up, that has a positive outlook. If you spend all your time talking about scammers, if you spend all your time talking about how eBay and Amazon are screwing us over, if you spend all your time gossiping about other people on YouTube and other resellers, your business is going to suffer. You're never going to reach your full potential or even anywhere close to it if you spend all your time in those sort of negative peer groups. So you've got to have a positive mindset about this, guys. You've got to believe that every day you can do this a little better and you can get a little better at your craft. And if you do that, the results will come. You might not see them today or tomorrow, next week, but they will come. So positivity is my last point. All right. Wow, that was right on 18 minutes. Man, I hit my timer exactly. All right, so if you guys have questions, please leave them. We got about 90 people watching, so thank you guys for that. Smash the like button if you're liking the content. Karin is not here again. She is also on the road. And, she will be, we were thinking about doing a show tomorrow night, believe it or not. So we don't usually do a Saturday night show, but we will see if we can put one of those together for you guys. It might be interesting. Some comments in here I want to cover. Fun stuff. Haven't seen you all. How are you doing? I struggle not to let my daily sales affect my mood. It's a roller coaster. It can be. Here's an idea, fun stuff. Here's an idea for everybody watching right now. And I know this is going to sound like hypocrisy, or not hypocrisy. It's going to sound like, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Turn off your results for a week. Don't even look at your sales. Could you guys do that? Could you do it for a day? Like, don't even look at what your sales were or what they are. It will free you. It's very freeing. Focus on your processes. If you've got someone else helping you in your business, have them process the shipment so you don't even see what was bought and sold. It will change your perspective because now you're not on that daily roller coaster of, oh, I did $180 today. Oh, I did $60 today. Oh, I did $210 today. Oh, it will change that. It will help change that. You'll focus on, working in your business and your processes and getting better at it. Let's see. Bonafide. What's up, Chris? Bonafide says the sad part is the reselling space is super niche and negative people seem to be rather prominent. Very odd. Yeah. Well, Karin and I were talking about that today. Well, I have a lot of thoughts about that, but I'm gonna leave them for another show because it's not really the subject today. Let's see. How are you feeling, Prof? Better, thank you. I'm about 85%, almost there. Negative people are prominent on the internet. Most folks that don't do the internet are too busy living to be negative. I know. Unfortunately, the internet is such a critical part of our lives anymore. You know, there's using the internet to be productive, and then they're just staying on the internet to socialize and gossip and get caught up in negativity. I mean, there's a difference there. So let's make that clear. Change your focus from sales to how you do things. Repeat best practices, improve what's not working. Totally agree, Illinois Picker. I think that's a great point. You know, focusing, remember guys, your sales are the result. That's an outcome of your processes. That's not a goal. That's not really the focus. Like if you get the processes right, if you're processing good items that can be sold for a good profit for the time spent, whatever that means to you, and you can get them up and listed and you can get your orders processed and shipped, you're going to get results, but they might not come exactly in the time or the manner in which you think. So don't focus on the results so much as the process. AT&T used to have a saying that said, the system is the solution. Man, a lot of truth in that. Love that one. Oh, Jim Rohn. Could not think of it. Thank you. Thank you, PH Discount Shop. That's who said you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. So true. Very true. Let's see what else we got here. Sound better. I know, right? What's up, Luke? Endless entrepreneurs in the house. Shouldn't you be at work, sir? Define the items in your business you can control is the key to success. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. Like your results are not entirely within your control. I know that sounds really funny to say, but your processes to get results are. But your results, and here's something else that's in your, man, I'm drawing on some things I've heard recently. What happens to you in your business is not entirely in your control. How you react to it and how you feel about it is in your control. So, and I remind myself of that every day. If I have a crappy sales day, it's happened. I can't change it. Going negative about it is not going to change the results. What I do going forward, I control. And how I feel about it, I chalk it up as a learning opportunity and say, well, maybe I didn't have listings yesterday. Maybe my pricing is not correct. Maybe I should run a sale. You know, maybe I should source different items. It's a learning opportunity, guys. How you react to events is in your control. The events themselves often are not. So very key distinction there. Yeah, thanks, Luke. I can't take credit for that one. I think you know who said that, though. Let's see. Yeah, Ginger was on the show last night. Check that out if you guys haven't watched it. She talked about opening up a retail shop and then failing with that business and then converting to eBay. Great story, and it's still ongoing. So she was awesome. She really helped out. It was a great show. Great to learn from. Bonafide says, I see a good amount of people drowning in their business rather than working on it. Yeah, Bonafide, and that's getting caught up, I think, in that day-to-day minutia, and you know, always working in your business and not on it. And you really need to be able to work on it. And there are times you have to act like an employee and process and ship and photograph and list and source. But that's not all you do. If that's all you do, that's all you will ever do. So you have to take this approach that, all right, that's the nuts and bolts of my business, but what's the overall strategy and plan? And that's when you move from working just in your business to working on your business. I think it's a key distinction. Let's see. The mind controls the body and your attitude is the driver. Nice. I like that, Illinois. That's great. Never heard it said that way. That's awesome. Ever tempted to turn on your make offer button when it's slow? I notice you have mostly buy it now. Sure, Vintage Crab. I have best offer on a lot of my items now, and I think that's a great. I mean, I think you should at least try that. If you've never done it, you should run some best offers and see what happens. You can always decline people's offers. You can counter offer. Just be careful if you do that. I will say to people, if you're used to doing buy nows and then you start adding best offer to some of those items, remember that when someone accepts an offer or you accept an offer, they have not paid yet. They have not paid yet. See, in my case, I require immediate payment for buy nows, but best offer does not require that. So if they accept the offer or you accept their offer, make sure they pay you before you ship it. So, and most people are going to pay you, but every once in a while they'll forget and you have to send and sometimes they don't pay at all and you have to open up an unpaid item claim. But just a little tip there. Mike asked if anybody's ever tried selling on Depop. Have not. I have not, but maybe someone else has. Let's see. Picker says, I was going to ask what percentage of your sales have been best offer. You have to watch the low ballers. It also gets them out of immediate payment. Yeah. I don't know. It's becoming a higher and higher percentage. Illinois. I really started using best offer, I guess, around about the beginning of the year, maybe even December-ish. I started converting a lot of sales. So we'll see how it goes. But I've definitely been taking a bunch, especially on the cool thing is too, when you do the listing, guys, when you do a best offer, you can put an automatic decline amount if you're listing on a PC or a Mac. And I highly encourage you to do that. So let's say you're listing an offer at 20 bucks or not even $20, and you'll take a best offer, but you want to auto decline, say $12 and under. You can do that. You can set it that way. So that way, even if somebody puts like a $10 best offer, it will automatically decline them. You don't have to respond to them, which saves you some time. And you can also put an automatic accept of a certain amount. So really, then you can just set a range there for what you're willing to negotiate on, which is pretty cool. 90% of my sales come from best offer. Large says it. That's awesome. Is that supposed to be large bargains? LARJ? That's how I would kind of say it, but maybe I'm saying it wrong. Skip says he switched from all buy it now to buy best offer about 45 days ago. Big bump in sales. Yeah, I'm curious to see if mine will as well. Skip, thanks for that. Definitely cool way to sell. It costs you nothing. There's no reason not to do it, or at least try it and see if you like it. It does create a little more work on the back end, a little more, because people are going to make offers and you have to decide, and you're going to take a moment to say if you want it or not. So realize that, but there's a lot of benefits to it. And some people even say you could even set the price a little higher and then set a best offer on it to try to get the price you really want. There's a strategy as well, I've heard. I haven't done as much of that, but definitely possible. Luke says, what's the most controllable aspect of your reselling business? Attitude. Your attitude. Your perception of what's going on. You cannot control your results. You cannot control the price Goodwill charges you for clothing. You cannot control what eBay is going to do tomorrow. You cannot control if Amazon is going to restrict your categories you've been selling in for the past 3 years. You cannot control the cost of postage. You cannot control what people send to you in terms of, messages over eBay, and if they're unhappy with your items. You cannot control glitches. You cannot control any of those things, but you can control your attitude and how you react to them. That is by far number one. And I would say it's maybe the most important. So definitely attitude. Krillin says, I've never heard of YouTubers talk about following up with customers. I've sold one customer about 5 suits. I just email them when I get more. Yeah, Krillin, that's a great point. Following up with customers on eBay. Gosh, I need to get better at that. That is something I could learn and get better at, and probably improve some results. Because I have had people say to me in their feedback, would buy from again, I'll be back. And I'm like, I should maybe follow up with this person. So I need to explore that. That's a great point. Well said. What was the video where you went in your spreadsheet and showed the average cost sale profit? I've done that in a lot of different videos, Mario. You can look back at any of the 5,000 gene listing or 5,000 listing recap videos. I mean, that's been in a bunch, honestly. I'm not sure if you're talking about a specific one, but let's see. Gosh, man, lots of great comments in the chat today. You can control what you spend on inventory. Yeah, that's true. Right, but you can't control the cost of the inventory. So I guess it's a little of a chicken and egg argument, right, Illinois? Let's see. I'd like different. I'm not sure it's different. I'm not sure, Dan, I'm trying to read your comment, but I'm not sure what you meant to say there. So the different styres that concentrate on different things. Stores, maybe? Let's see. How can you boost your sales from 0? At least 1. That's a great question, Brandon. Okay, here's where the prof math comes out in me, and it has to. How much you sell is always, to some degree, a function of probability. For instance, let's look at it this way. If I list one item, there's some probability that it's going to sell within some amount of time. We'll say a week, right? There's some probability. We don't know what that number is. We can make a guess based at other listings that have been put up and how many have completed and how many have sold. We can make a guess, but it's just an educated guess. It's within a range. If you put up 10 items, you have increased your probability of a sale. It may not be 10 times, just depending on sell-through of those particular types of items, but if you've put up 100 items, you've increased any more. If you put up 1,000 items, so what I'm trying to get at here is that your probability of making a sale is always somewhat a function of how many listings you have up. That's just pure math. Now, that doesn't mean you know exactly what that number is. I'm not suggesting that. But the more items you have up, the more chance one of them will sell, or even more than one, depending on how many there are. Is it a straight linear 1-to-1 ratio? No, it's not. I'm not saying that, but it is a greater chance. So to say, what's the chance one will sell? It's kind of tough to say. I mean, you could do things to increase the chance, the probability. If every iPhone on eBay is selling for $500 and you price yours at $100, somebody's probably going to buy it and think it's a deal. They may be suspicious why you're selling it for $100, but you're probably going to sell it quicker. On the other hand, if you price it at $1,000, you know, I don't know that anyone's going to buy it anytime soon unless they don't like money. So there's things you can do to increase the chance, you know, your pictures, your description, your keywords. And then of course, but overall, I like just the number of listings. The more listings you have up, the more you're going to sell. I mean, that's just, I don't think anybody's ever shown me any stat on eBay that would disprove that statement. Now, again, it may not be a straight 1-to-1 ratio that putting up 1,000 listings that you're going to sell 10 times as much as if you put up 100. There's other factors, but the more listings equals more sales. I mean, I don't know. If somebody's got a good argument against that, I am open to it, but I have yet to hear one. So let's see. What else is here? I have a few. All right, that's not a question. That's why we have statisticians to figure this stuff out. Yeah, I'm sure eBay, Dwayne, could tell us exactly what that probability is given a certain item in a certain category and so on. But I don't know that it really matters. I mean, you know, you can look at other people's sold and completeds and figure out a percentage, and you can figure your item, as long as you match the quality and pricing and photos and descriptions and so on, you're going to be somewhere in that range. You know, if an item is selling through 20% every 30 days, if you match all those other factors, chances are, unless something changes in the market, you're going to sell through about 20% of your inventory over 30 days. It might be 16%, it might be 22%. You know, it's going to be somewhere in that range. It'd be very unusual to be 0, and it'd also be very unusual to be 40%. Those would be outlying results that don't really make much sense. But, you you know, that's all we can ever go on is just make some assumptions. We can't know 100% what our sell-through is going to be. All right. Yeah. Look, get back to work. Somebody's got to do that financial nonsense you're doing. A lot of products have peak times of the season, so that factors into. Great point, Leisure Picker. You're exactly right. Right. PGH says, is that supposed to be Pittsburgh picks maybe? I don't know. Listing more will not guarantee more sales, but will increase your probability. Yep. That's exactly it. You said it a lot more succinctly than I did. That's for sure. Hey, there's a good question. Says, somebody's talking about sending a business card to their buyers. Does anyone else do that? I was thinking about getting a business card, saying like a little Prof Sales business card, maybe have my store name on there, an email. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And I'm not even sure what I'm going to use it for yet, but I was thinking about doing it. I don't know. Maybe it's narcissism. I got to have a business card. I don't know. Maybe I'll use it for something. Who knows? Aside from jeans, what are your best-selling products? That's a great question, Brandon. It's a little tough for me to identify that right off the top of my head because I'm so heavily jean-oriented these days. I would guess just basic shirts. Shirts are easy to sell. They don't sell for a lot of money necessarily unless you find certain brands, but they're cheap to ship because a lot of them don't weigh much unless you get up over the 1 pound shirts and some of the larger men's sizes and so on. Let's see. Too nice out today, can't work. I know it's nice here too. I send a business card, get them from Stream Print online, very cheap. Mine says thank you and leaves my email and a QR code for my eBay store. Cost me $40 for 2. Cost effective though. I mean, what's the point of the business card to get them to come back and buy again? I could see that, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Sometimes if someone buys an expensive suit, I will give them a free tie. Makes perfect sense. I mean, if you're going to wear an expensive suit, you are probably going to wear an expensive tie with it, right? So that makes sense, Carolyn. That's smart. Lauren says, I'd like to leave business cards with people I know that I will be getting items from in the future. Yeah, that's a great point about the business cards. Maybe that's where I was going earlier. I kind of lost my train of thought on that. But this idea that you could leave them at places that you source a lot or that you might come back to, you know, or if they, hey, if you get any of this, give me a call, send me an email. Great point. Good Use Good says, I have a second business card with my logo, and on the back it says what I look for and buy with my contact info. Helps at garage sales. Yep, that makes total sense. I mean, I think it's one of those things, guys, that like someone said they got a couple thousand cards for $40. If you got one source out of it or got one sale or purchase from it, it probably pays for itself. And I would think out of 2,000 cards, you probably would, assuming you know, hand them out smartly. So yeah, probably worth it. It doesn't say I'm a reseller, it says I'm a buyer. I like that. It's good. That's smart. Don't say you're a reseller, say you're a buyer. They probably understand you're buying it to resell, but it doesn't really matter. Smart not to put that on there. I think it's probably better to say you're just a buyer. Insane Kitten says, I don't think it's narcissistic. I think it's part of building your business. Yeah, business cards are kind of old school, but man, I think they work. It's like a cheap way to keep your name out there in people's minds, right? Keep your business out there. And I'm going to have to do that. I need to think about that a little bit, what I want to say and so on. But I think it's a good idea. And one we should probably talk about, you know, maybe in a future video about marketing ideas for your business outside of, you know, maybe not the mainstream, but outside of the traditional methods. Because a lot of us say, well, we just throw our stuff out there on our store on eBay and we hope for the best. But there are other ways to get product. There's other ways to advertise your business. I know there's a lot of social media ways to do it, which I'm not the best at. So I'm going to have to bring some people on who are good at that because it's clearly not going to be my info, and find out if we can help other people understand that a little better, including me. Let's see. Lots of good questions and good used goods. I'm not sure what that means. Gug. It's kind of funny. Let's see. Krillin, I've been telling you to hit estate sales. There's a company call me to come buy merchandise. Easy to buy. Yeah, Krillin, and we will. We finished our sourcing for February, as you guys know, but we're getting ready to gear up for March, and that is part of the plan. So thank you for that. And it is definitely, I'll try my best to do a video or two about our estate sale adventures and what we find at them. And it's part of the process for March. At what time did you decide not to work for a company and go full-time reseller? What time did I actually do it, or what time did I decide it? Those are two different times. I probably decided it 15 years ago, Brandon. But honestly, to do it was more like about 3 years ago. To go full-time, I guess. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you call full-time. The mindset's been there for a long time, though, for various reasons. And I kept trying to push a round peg into a square hole, and it just, working in corporate America and different jobs, and just didn't work. So something I've been thinking about, Wrangler, is bundles, say a shirt with a pair of jeans. What's your thoughts? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, I don't really have any experience in that. If someone has experience selling bundles like a pair of jeans with a shirt, I think it's trickier to get someone who likes both items at the same time than it is to get somebody who likes one item. But I can also see that if there might be some value in there that, a shirt could probably fit in a padded flat rate with a lot of jeans. So you're not even any extra shipping, and you get an extra 10, 12, 15 bucks on the sale. It would just be matching the shirt up to the jeans that would be the tricky part, I think, and looking to find that particular buyer who's going to want to pay a little extra for a shirt they might not want. Or, I mean, you're probably going to get some questions like, hey, can I buy just the shirt or just the jeans? You're going to have to deal with those, but I'm not opposed to it. I just don't have any experience doing it. So let's see. Don't you miss being a college professor? I do. I don't miss certain part. Well, I liked it. I loved it, actually. And there's, I may do it again one day. Who knows? But it's a lot of fun. But that's another field that's evolving and changing too. And higher education, it's a little bit of a racket. I don't want to talk down about it because there's a lot of value in it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that there's some things about it that need to change, just as there does in our education system in general. And until they change, it makes it tough for me to see a place for myself back in that industry. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot. And YouTube, in a way, is almost like a classroom to me sometimes, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. But it's really no different. I mean, I learned a lot from my students, and I learned a lot from you guys too. I learned more from you than you'll ever learn from me, and I do appreciate that. I can't tell you how much that means to me that you guys come and interact with us on a daily and weekly basis, and it really does help keep that motivation at a high level to continue to produce content when you guys come on and you're just like, you're just giving out the knowledge, and you're saying, hey, I've done this, what about this? And asking these great questions. I mean, that is just so awesome. And thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Brandon says, I'm 28 and already done with corporate America. Plan your exit strategy, Brandon. Keep that job as long as you can, because there's value in that. You'll find value. Plan your exit strategy and make it happen. I'm with you, brother. Do it. Let's see. Claire, notes on the bundles. Notes on bundles. You lose the ability to provide details on more than one item. Good point. Great point. And you're going to cut down the amount of pictures you can take of any one item, because now you got to take pictures of both items, right? Which might change your listing a little bit. I'm not trying to say not to do a bundle. I'm just saying there are things to consider before you go down that road. I'm just not the right person to advise you on that, honestly, because I just don't have enough expertise in that area. I really don't have any expertise in that area other than bundling some same type jeans together I've done before. But let's see. Prof, we had a few teachers move from the U.S. to here, Canada, and they said they really love teaching here compared to the U.S., not to say we were without problems. I would love Canada except for one thing, your weather. I was born and raised in the South. What do you want from me? I can't move to where it snows all the time, or it's cold, or it's windy or rainy. I mean, I've got to have some sun, man. I got to have some hot. I'm sure there's parts of Canada that are hot in the summer. Don't get me wrong. Before everybody gives me a big, meteorology lesson here now. And I've had nothing but great experiences from the people I've met from Canada. I think it's an awesome country. But I would probably, if I got back into teaching, I would probably explore the online teaching aspect. Although I don't know, I think you miss something when you do that, but that's another story for another day. Thank you for that, Vintage Grad. That was a nice comment. Karen wants to move to Canada. Don't get her started. She would do it. She loves the cold weather. She'd be all about it. Let's see. You can learn a lot in the chat. I know that's true, right? You really can sometimes. So no Minnesota then either. Lauren says, I want you and Carter to be my neighbors. I'm pretty sure Minnesota's pretty close to Canada, Lauren, and pretty freaking cold in the winter, right? Don't you guys get excited when the temperature gets up to like 10 or something? And you're like, yay, heat wave. Canada, it's cold. It's ice cold. That was funny. Izar says, I'm 26 and don't want to work for corporate America. I've been selling on eBay for a month and reached about 1,500. Keep going, man. Keep it to where save up your money, save your eBay money if you can, and use your job to pay off your expenses and your normal monthly bills, and just bank that money, because you're gonna have those valleys when you start doing it full time. That's going to happen. So the better you can be prepared for that financially, the more chance of success you'll have. Rebels don't belong in Canada. They still haven't gotten their independence yet. Krillin, I don't know about you in this Southern thing, man. I think that's like in your head. Nobody's fighting the Civil War in my household anymore. It's done. So you and this rebel thing, I don't know, man. That's your beef. I'm cool with it all. I don't care. Elio says, I believe I will stay in the South. Yeah, it definitely has a weather advantage. Let's be clear. Lauren says, I'll get you a space heater for your desk. I've already got one. I think I would need two if we were in Minnesota, though. Maybe. Let's see. Are you buying Faded Glory pants? They're selling like hotcakes for hundreds of dollars. Really? Okay. All right. I had no idea that Faded Glory is selling for hundreds of dollars. I like that, JJ. That's awesome. Let's see what else we got here. Colorado's nice. Yeah. All right. So fun stuff says, isn't that your Facebook name, Rebels of Reselling? It is fun stuff, but it doesn't mean rebels like the South. It just means that having a different sort of attitude, a different approach to it. So it doesn't mean the rebels, the Confederacy, which is now probably like the 4th or 5th time we've made that clear. So hopefully, eventually, that myth is going to die. Anyway, let's see. All right. Yeah, Faded Glory is a Walmart brand, for those of you who don't know. And he's just kidding. I think JJ said he was just kidding. So JJ's come into other chats and said that. I'm not sure what JJ's doing there, but it's pretty funny. He comes in all the time and talks about Walmart brands, which is pretty cool, pretty funny. Okay. All right, guys. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. We went way over the 30 minutes. We went like 20 minutes over. It's going to be like a 50-minute show. Thank you guys for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Lots of great chat today. Take these tips and maybe think about your mindset. You own your business. And you're going to have results and things that happen to you, but you own the way that you react to them. That's a big takeaway from today. And if you have the right attitudes and mindset, you can be successful in this business. If you view everything as a learning opportunity, everything is just part of how it goes. It's part of the course. You've got to evolve and adapt to changing business atmospheres and so on, and just keep positive. I mean, it is so important. Hey guys, if you got a store, start a sale today. It's Friday. Great day to start a sale. I just started one of mine. It's actually going to be going for the max 45 days, I think. So I'm just going to run a sale for the next 45 days and just keep trying to blow some stuff out. But leave me a comment or question down below after this video post. Great stuff today in the chat. Great questions and great comments. I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome rest of your weekend. I'm going to try to enjoy the rest of my Friday. It's nice and sunny here. And Car and I are going to try to finally get over this sickness that's just hanging on just a little bit too long. We're almost there. And I got to say, it always makes me feel better to talk to you guys. So that helps the process, and I do appreciate it. All right, so I think that's going to do it for today, guys. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night if we decide to have a show. Keep your eyes out for that reminder on the channel or in the Facebook group. And as always, this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.